Welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm Lara, and today I'm here with the legendary.
Oh, please.
And I was deciding between one and only because one and only is true. Like, I've never met another you.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad I don't have a
Doctor.
doppelganger out there.
Yeah, we all have a doppelganger,
Oh God,
supposedly. I
that is
the,
true.
the world does not need two of me. You guys know that. I know that. You know that, really.
Yes, we do know.
Dr. Christian Calderon. Thank you for joining me.
Pleasure, Lara. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's truly an honor.
I am super excited about this. First of all, I just like talking to you in general. So then when we had like a reason to do this, well, you've got a million reasons you could come on the podcast. But we're going to hit like a variety of them.
I
But
like it.
you would not be official if you didn't tell us how you got to Putnam County.
Oh, well, that's a story.
I like stories.
Never did I envision being here, and it's not a bad thing by any means. I truly love being a part of Putnam County.
Good defense. I'm just kidding.
And it's been an honor and a privilege to get to participate in as much as we have going on in our small little town. But it all goes back to pharmacy school. So the final year of pharmacy school, you do your clinical rotations. And part of that clinical rotation is you vary from different sites 3 to 4 months at a time, rotating through different organizations, different hospital sizes, different aspects of pharmacy in general, retail, hospital, inpatient, so on. And one of my stints was at Putnam Community Medical Center back
Right.
before HCA purchased them. And it was one of those situations where I had already been sent out to multiple like 1 hour drives. So I was commuting from Gainesville for like all these things. So I was an hour in the morning, hour at night. And then they hit me with, "You're going to Palatka for 3 months." And I was just like, where and why?
What?
I kid you not, I tried negotiating with friends. I tried paying people to take my rotation because I'm like, I don't want to drive again for 3 months,
Yeah.
you know? And ultimately,
You mean you drove back and forth every day for 3 months?
Yeah.
Not like you come stay here for 3 months? So like,
no, because you'd have to,
I'd bribe somebody too.
as a poor student, you don't have that option typically. And so I tried my best to get out of it. And I didn't know, where I was going to end up. I didn't know what was going on here.
Right.
And all I've ever heard is careful, it's a speed trap getting out there. That's my extent of coming out here, back in the day. But ultimately, I did end up, coming through, and I got to meet the fabulous team at Putnam Community Medical Center, and most importantly, Dr. Gail King, who was the director and still is the director of the pharmacy department at the hospital. And so I got to do my rotations, my internal med, my hospital practice, and then administration with her, and ultimately ended up falling in love with the small town feel, the very concise group of individuals working there, all joined together, trying to get, the best clinical practice for a pharmacy of that size going and doing amazing things. And so at the summation of my rotation, 3 months were done and over. And I was like, cool, nice to know you guys.
Right.
Wish you well. See ya. And I moved on with my progression through other didactic training and other rotation sites. And so then I was finishing up actually at the VA in the Villages because, again, they sent me an hour away for like everything. I killed more gas that year than
You must have done something to someone.
someone always somewhere. But we repent and we pay.
Yes.
But ultimately for a reason, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
comes something good. It's all about what you make it. And so I was finishing up having lunch with my preceptors, a group of very lovely, smart ladies at the VA outpatient center, and I get a phone call and it says Palatka. I see the 386 and I'm like, Palatka? Who's calling me from Palatka? They're like, well, answer. So I step outside, answer, and it's Dr. Gail King. And she's like, Christian, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm doing well, Dr. King. What do I have this call to? And she's like, well, we're considering starting a pharmacy residency, and we think you would be primed to be our potential first resident. Would you like to talk more about that? And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, what?
An hour drive.
Yeah, I'm like, again? And so typically you have to go through a very rigorous application process. You have to apply, go interview, do this. But there's a special circumstance when they're in a pre-candidate status, as they were, that their first round they get to handpick per se, since they're not technically accredited.
Right.
And there's a potentiality that they still might not get accredited because the accreditation process is very rigorous. And so you can spend the whole year being a resident, not get accreditation, and then it doesn't count towards anything at the end of it.
Fun.
So it's like a risk analysis for you to be like, hey, I'm on board. But all in all, it's still an interesting process. So I report back to my preceptors at the time, and they're like, so what was that about? And I'm like, I think I just got offered a residency. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, they're trying to start a residency out in Palatka at Putnam. And they want to talk to me some more about it. And they're like, you have to do it. And at this point, I'm set in what I want to do. I had worked at Walgreens now going on about 9.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
They had me set, primed, and ready to be a pharmacy manager 5 minutes from my house,
Uh,
doing the retail life.
5 minutes.
Right, 5 minutes, go home, come out, do my thing, making six figures, the dream, as far as I knew at that point in my life.
Right.
And so that's what I was going to do. And I was like, there's nothing's going to change my mind. I'm not going to change this. And my path is set. But ultimately, I was like, they're like, hear her out, go listen to her. And so Dr. King set up a meeting at Moondogs, this fabulous little restaurant in Jacksonville. And
You didn't have to drive?
I did. I had to drive to Jacksonville from Gainesville.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I heard Gainesville. In my mind, I wanted so bad for that story to be you didn't have to drive.
I didn't have to drive.
You still had to drive.
No, still had to drive. Always driving, except now, which we'll get to that. But so I ended up meeting up with her, and she kind of explained the whole process. And hey, we're going to try and embark on this journey because they're a 99-bed rural hospital. Typically, residencies are at the much bigger, institutions that have usually an academic perspective to it,
like
attached.
Baptist or
Yeah, UF, and it's just a lot easier. Or the bigger, like your Mayos, your St. Vincent's, the big places. Right. Because again, there's a lot of resources, time, effort, money that goes into standing them up before there's really payback to the facility. And so Dr. King, by the way, is an amazing individual. One of my
Shout out to Dr. King.
One of my biggest mentors and cheerleaders who's just supported me in everything I do. So yes, shout out to Dr. King. But she talked me into it. And at the time, everyone who I knew personally who had been applying to residencies are like, so what's going on? And I kind of told them the same story. And they're like, well, that's cool. You're lucky. And it's like, am I though? Like, what am I signing up for?
Right,
Because again, I didn't think I was going to do that path. And so finally I was like, well, is there two residents or is it just me? And she's like, well, just one. And I'm like, well, typically there's two because they have to share the misery together. And like, you have a comrade in arms so that you can, again, fight through the pain, because typically a residency consists of 1 year where you get paid a third of what you would typically get expected to pay to become clinically sound, right? From our didactic education, and I went to University of Florida, shout out, go Gators. And
Charlie Douglas will approve that statement. He's
awesome.
A double Gator.
Well, they're a top 10 pharmacy school.
Did they train y'all to say go Gator? I have to know this. It's squirrel, because I feel like every time anybody says I graduated from UF, go Gators, it's almost like they whipped you till you were like, yes.
I think they did. They definitely, there's something in the Gatorade for sure. Something was concocted, but I think at the end of the day, it's like I owe them so much in student loans. Like I might as well be loyal.
Every time he says it, you guys have to knock off like $10.
Please, it's a sponsoring partnership here. Yeah. Let's see what we can do.
We'll call UF and see if any time we get Go Gators said on here from True Gators that they'll take what Project Christian, Dr. Christian Calderon.
I could only hope.
Debt elimination.
Yeah, we'll start that. We'll send it up the chain.
Squirrels.
Right, both of us. And so ultimately, she's like, well, let me go talk to administration and see if they'll approve a second resident. They ended up doing so, and she asked me if I had anybody in mind.
Oh, you're making moves, man.
I know. Teed up one of my best friends who kind of was in a similar situation, and he didn't think so either, but I kind of talked him into doing it. He came in for the interview, got it. Next thing we know, we are both now practicing pharmacists at Putnam Community Medical Center. This was circa 2015. And we were young whippersnappers, as Dr. King would call us, and, all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And we were ready to take on the world. So you can imagine this hospital had never had a pharmacy residency. This was new. And pharmacists in general were very particular type of individuals, very detail-oriented, very strong-willed. And so building the rapport with the physicians and the administration and the team there, it was a daunting task, but a task nonetheless we were ready to take on. So we went through, accomplished that residency, ended up getting accredited with the help of our team and our residency program director, Dr. Stephen Tran. And we were one of we were the 26th hospital our size in the country to become a pharmacy resident, to have a pharmacy residency. Just again, it's hard to do it without having a big infrastructure in place. And we didn't at the time because we were Life Point, bought by HCA shortly after we started. So we started getting more resources, but they didn't know we came along with the deal. And so that was kind of a surprise to them as well. And they're like, wait, you have residents?
Right.
What? And so we did it. And
is it the only residency at nursing, right? But
Hmm.
like as far as that kind of specialty, is that the only
For
residency out
at the
there?
hospital, yeah. So like they've started
Wow.
new STAR and programs, which is kind of like to help recent grad nurses. They put them through like a rigorous, like I think it's a short stint, like 12 to 16 weeks or something along the line, but nothing
Break
along.
them in.
Yeah, break them in, get them, oriented so that when they come, they hit the ground running,
Right.
because nursing is hard. But no, nothing as rigorous or accredited to the degree that our pharmacy residency was. So it's very similar to
Awesome.
like the physicians, because you go to school, but then you have to focus and specialize. So pharmacists, same way now. We do typically 4 years undergrad, 4 years of pharmacy school, and now a year or two, and now even up to 3 years of residency. So I
Go
did
Gators.
go Gators. So I did 9 years total before I officially started
Wow.
practicing on my own.
And we got you.
And you got
No,
me.
hang on. Okay, so you did your residency, cool, but like once you're done, you're not obligated to stay there, right?
No, not at all. In fact, typically it's not expected because they would have to have a position available. There would have to be room for you. But again, luck would have it that I got recruited right in. So I finished my residency, and then I got to hired on as their clinical coordinator and informatics, which is dealing with the computer software. It has to be a licensed pharmacist who messes with the drugs in that software. So
Mm-hmm.
luckily, Dr. King was trained on this software from the get-go, and she ran all, so she taught me a lot, and it's still aiding me to this day because the amount of software programs a pharmacist has to use at any given time in the hospital daily, we're using 4 to 5, and then they'll just onboard and keep adding stuff. So like you almost have to be an IT specialist on top of being a pharmacist just to be able to utilize all the systems and safety parameters in place
Right.
to keep their patients safe and healthy.
Yeah, it's not back in the day where he would just say, "All right, here, put it in a bottle and give it to you," and the little ridges made it poison or whatever it was. Well, when I worked at the call center that we had out here, I mean, I came from a veterinary background. I did veterinary technician, and then decided very quickly I would get very bored with cats, dogs, birds until I wanted to go to specialty. So I ended up in a call center of all places, and just to like get people deal with their internet, like their internet account. There were
Hmm.
like 9 programs,
Yeah.
and I don't think people realize like you become somewhat of an IT specialist because if something's broke here and they got to figure out that. So
You don't have a choice. You
yeah,
have
yeah.
you have to, or else you're going to be a miserable person
Mhm.
slogging through daily. But no, that's one of the biggest things. Like often I talk to people, they're like, "What do you do?" I'm a pharmacist. They're like, "Oh, so you hand out pills, And it's funny because at the hospital, like not at all. Like we don't do that. We have a great team of technicians, pharmacy technicians who
Right.
handle replenishment and acquisition of medications for us. And to be honest, in the hospital system, they're all based out of what we call ADCs, automated dispensing cabinets.
Mm,
So it's almost like a vending machine
right.
per se for these medications, right? Physician puts in an order. Every order that a physician puts in at the hospital level, a pharmacist has to verify, review, and ensure, right patient, right medication, right dose, no interactions. No one's going to die from what's
Right.
about to happen.
Right.
And you imagine that seems simple at first, but when you think of the load,
Mm-mm.
how many of these orders are coming through
I didn't think
daily?
it sounded simple. Just and for anybody out there who did, I definitely did not.
But so we play a pivotal role. Right? We share
Mhm.
co-liability with the physicians because they order it and we say yes, and something happens. We're both in trouble.
Now I knew TikTok, you get a variety of things that you see. And recently, there's been like this whole was a trend. I could be behind the times. I don't know about talking about disposing of the medications or trashing it, and like it's 2 people have to sign off when it's something like controlled or whatever that is. And I never. I mean, I get like if you are the one holding the medication, oh, you're responsible for it, or if you're the one prescribing it, but like you just saying, you gave me the order, now I have to make sure that nothing happens. And
Hmm.
if you messed up, and
It's a handoff.
yeah, and
Like
I didn't
here,
even see the patient,
here
by
you
the
go.
way. Here you go.
And so we're doing very clinical practice in the hospital. We're
Right.
reviewing their charts. We're assessing the physician's notes. We're looking at the labs. We're looking at the microbiome coming
With the
back.
doctor behind the doctor.
We're the doctor behind the doctor. It's a team effort, right? Because ultimately you want your whole team working on you, you the patient. And so again, it's something that has evolved over the years, right? Because very often the physician played the quarterback role, right?
Hmm.
They were in charge. They dictated a very paternalistic model of we're the ones in charge of your healthcare. And now it's much more patient-centered care. So it's like the patient is kind of we're here surrounding the patient. We're all working towards their goal, and they're part of the team as well because ultimately we can
I do
do
love that.
and that's the goal, right? Because you need to be involved in your healthcare. Because no matter
Right.
what, we're taking care of you acutely in the facility, but then you're going to go home, right? We don't want you staying there. We want you happy, healthy outside of the
Right.
facility. And now you have to be in charge of your healthcare, or you and your loved ones have to be in charge of your healthcare. So ultimately, if we don't involve you in that process until the very end, it's not going to go very well.
It's not like a
Yeah,
there you
exactly.
go.
Hand off, here you go. Thanks. Have a nice day. No, it's
Right.
like we should have been educating you, talking you up, setting the expectations early on so that you can leave us with a plan for your future. Because ultimately, a lot of these diseases are chronic diseases you're going to have to deal with: diabetes, heart failure, hypertension, cholesterol. All these things don't just stop.
Right.
They continue from then on, and now you are the one taking care of yourself. You have to understand the bulk of these medications, how they're going to interact, how they're going to work with you, and you should know why, because
Yeah.
ultimately it's affecting you. So there's been a huge development in how we go about taking care of our patients
Yeah.
and providing healthcare. So it's been really cool to see, and especially now, like through education, we're trained with the physicians, we're trained with the nurses. Like we have to do like even classes together where we all help on certain cases or work on the patient together. So
Right.
like new docs, new pharmacists these days, it's like, where's my pharmacist and where's my doctor? Like I'm
Right.
here to do this for you, and you're here to help me with that.
Mhm.
So it's very much team focused dynamic, and it's cool to see the evolution.
I like that. I know while we do have like a definitive subject on this podcast, I'm going to let this ride out because you can post this in multiple bits, but hang on for the ride. You'll get to hear it all.
Let's go.
For me, having come from like you get a little bit of understanding of basic medicine and veterinary work, but very basic, right? How
Animals are hard because we don't study the effects on them. It's just like,
right,
oh, let's see. Hopefully this works too. And then the
right,
weirdest things, like dogs metabolize medication so fast.
right,
They have to be given 3-4 times the dose of certain meds just to affect them, because otherwise it doesn't touch them.
right,
Pain meds, dogs have huge tolerances for pain medications just because of their metabolism.
right.
And it's interesting. That's hard pressed.
Yeah,
Our veterinarians, bless them, because
yeah.
they're over here dealing with patients that can't respond back or tell them what's going on,
Exactly.
and
But
that's a hard
I
job.
felt, comfortable. And then growing up, I have a grandmother with a chronic condition, and then had some, health issues throughout my life. And then now to have my kids, have all had their own situation, but especially with my son. And when he was going through his cardiac care,
Mhm.
really being able to be out there was not what I expected, where when they would make their rounds, I was out there with the doctor, with the nurse, with the CDC, whoever was out there at the time of his care. And they were, because I was in the room with them most of the time.
For
Like, I
sure.
mean, they came and did their thing, but if I saw something different, I could tell you what all the machines did, what they should look like by the end of that. But I think it's really cool that that has become a development where people are educated, and it's not. I feel like my grandma maybe had grown up. Well, the doctor told me to, so I'm going to take all this medicine, and
Mhm.
that's what's going to keep me alive, not how I'm going to treat myself or what I should and shouldn't do with it. But
No, ultimately, need to be focused on you.
right.
Again, you're the one who's gonna have to deal with this long term. And now, people are living longer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we didn't see some of the things we're seeing now just because our life is finite. Your DNA degrades as you age. It can only handle so many times being replicated before we start seeing mutations occur. And
Right.
it's natural process. So now we're starting to see how of these things affect us in the long term. And
Right.
so we have to be keyed up to be able to handle these situations better. And ultimately, it's the focus is on the patient and their family to make sure they know what's going on. In fact, pharmacists, one of the things that we started at the hospital very early on, and we're still trying to continue into for, is transition to care. So it's someone being able to help you progress from hospital back to home. So we were able to establish during our residency, and we still have our students because we host a lot of UF pharmacy students. Our pharmacists are associate clinical professors, adjunct staff in a sense, and they precept, right? So just like I was on my rotations at different sites, now we do that for other students, and they've been doing that for a long time. But it's through transition to care is, all right, before they leave, we start doing 30-minute education sessions, right?
Okay.
So teaching about their hypertension, teaching about their heart failure, how it affects them, what to notice, things like that. And it's a lot of information. So we try to break it up into sessions and try to educate their caregivers and their loved ones so that they know, well, you're sick in a hospital. You're not very happy to be there. You're not feeling well. So being taught and forced to learn these things on the fly
Right.
is not always the most conducive of being able to actually remember all that.
Right.
So then what we do is, okay, now you've left. Now we're going to ask you, hey, do you mind us if we call you like while you're at home?
Right.
So then we'll strategically call them, like day 7, day 14, day 28, through a 1 month cycle to
Wow.
ensure that, hey, those meds that you were prescribed, did you pick them up? Are
Right.
there any barriers? Can you not get them?
I've needed some hand holding at least
Oh, I'm
once.
the worst
About
patient ever. Absolutely.
10 to 10. I'll set out all my vitamins, and then well, my ADD tells me I forgot to take those 5 days in a row, and then oh, I need to fill
Please
them
don't
again.
take them all at the same time.
No, never. I mean,
Catch up. Let's go.
10 to 12, 20 B12s will do nothing more than one B12. I mean, it will do whatever.
Oh,
I'm not a pharmacist. I'm not a doctor. I was just
your
trying to
poor
make a joke.
PS to be so bright.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, I don't do that. I try to behave. If anything, I don't take the things that I should.
Star.
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, again, I just love hearing all these stories. You got so much to offer.
Sorry, yeah, we're going all over the place.
That's okay. That's what it's here for. If you're here for something that is linear,
you picked the wrong podcast.
I'll start marking it for you guys. So you've decided, all right, I'm going to stick it out with.
So we're staying. We're here in Putnam.
So you moved.
Not then. So I kept commuting. Yeah, 5 years.
I had to hold the mic for that.
Well, to be honest, to be completely honest with everyone,
that's what this is about.
We were used to our Whole Foods. We're used to
I do love
our essentials and going to our Gator games on the weekend and going out, and we just didn't have that here at that time, And things are getting better now, but that just wasn't the case back then. And so my wife was working in Gainesville, so to destabilize both of us, I stuck it out. I kept driving and I took it for the team.
That's real love.
And we did it. Thanks. You hear that, honey? I did that.
That is real love.
So I did that for 5 years, and then finally COVID came around, and then COVID just, changed everyone's lives. But I was basically hanging out the hospital all the time, waiting for new drugs to be shipped, waiting on vaccines, having to update pumps, and I was just living here. And it got to a point where I'm like, if I'm gonna have to function through this disaster, this pandemic, I can't be driving on top of it or not making it home.
Right.
So then, October of 2020. We just started looking randomly and serendipitously. Wow. We found a for sale by owner near Francis Baptist Church, Francis, and
I looked at the place over there.
Yeah, we bought a nice little house on Oak Tree Lane. So yeah, I got sold. I was like, that's a beautiful road. Come on, let's go.
It's stunning out there.
And so then I moved my family here October 2020, and I've been here ever since. Go Palatka.
That's right around actually the time. So. Transition kind of here. We met through Rotary.
We did.
And now that I think about it, because it was COVID, and then when did you end up joining Rotary? And this all makes sense very soon. Go ahead.
Yeah, I believe it was 2018. So I would have been in there already 2 years before you came around.
So I was Rotary on the back end.
You were supportive staff.
I was supportive staff. I would visit often, do tech stuff or
help us get our presentation
IT
set
stuff.
up.
Yeah,
especially during COVID. Thank you, because you would help the Zoom and set everything up, and we need that because not everyone's techie.
Yeah, and unless they're a pharmacy technician or a pharmacist.
I'm just secretly also a nerd, so it comes in waves. It's good.
Yeah, when you came in, I was like, oh, there's another one of me. Somebody else can do this too. But yeah, so I was a part of Rotary through the president at the time, and kind of kept that role until I was, are you going to join? Well, if that's an invite, I would love to join.
Come on over.
And I took a hiatus for a year, almost 2 years before I recently came back, as recent as this week.
This week.
Exactly.
Welcome back, Lara.
But I've been visiting though. But yeah, I'd taken a hiatus, and in the meantime, you have become president.
I am now the Rotary Club president.
Because you don't have enough to do, right?
It's one of those things, where... And the fact how I ended up in Rotary was I had heard about things going on in the city, and one of my bosses at the time, she was a Rotarian, and I asked, "Hey, what is Rotary?" And here comes Danny Martinez, the late great Danny.
Bless his soul, man.
Oh, absolutely. I know he's watching.
God rest his soul, whatever the saying is.
Oh, he loves them all. He'll take them all. And he's like, "I heard you want to get involved we could get you involved. We got plenty to do. And next thing I know, here I am joining, getting my fireside chat with Danny and Derek, and them pulling me in and letting me know, like, hey. And then quickly, you know, they pulled me into our blood screening project. I ended up chairing that for a couple years.
Which makes sense for you to
Yeah,
be
it
part
made
of.
sense because it's healthcare, you know, it's you do what you love, right? And that's what I love to do. So I immediately got involved, and next thing I know, I'm on the board, followed up, hey, do you want to be president? We'd really like to see what you can do. And it's just been an evolution. You know, the club's been around since 1920. So it's been here for a long time. It's seen a lot of changes through this community, and it's Rotary, even through its founder's vision, is meant to evolve, right? Times change, people change, society changes, and they go with the times, right? It's ultimately about gathering a group of people who want to help make their city, their town, their world a better place. And
I want when this gets edited right before you said that, because my mind, I was telling you, tell them what Rotary is, because I was going to ask that next, and then you said it like it says, this is what Rotary is, and then you start speaking that. That's going to happen, right? So, once again, Rotary is a gathering of, and there's a lot of historic stuff. Well, in fact, we'll leave a link to not only our, there's a number of Rotary groups that gather here in Putnam County,
we have
but
4.
to the history of Rotary, so you guys could understand, because I'm often asked, what's Rotary? Now, aren't they just a bunch? We have definitely shaken the old people club, right?
The old man
the
club.
old man club. Yep. I was trying to be as least offensive as possible, but
I'm not sure if you nailed it.
I did not. But the old man club, which is what everybody thought, and I think especially over the past few years, even when I'd taken a step back, hearing all the, I kept an eye on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
To watch the good that a group of people can come together and do, both nationally and internationally, but just to support things. And it's not like, Rotary goes out and we meet for lunch, and maybe we build a playground, or maybe we do a cleanup, or sometimes you serve at an event. The Rotarians in Crescent City often help with the Catfish Festival.
They do.
But sometimes you bring an event.
Absolutely.
And I am super excited to tell you guys about what our Rotary group has been working on. What year are we in now?
3rd year.
The 3rd year,
that we have it. So yeah, no, you nailed it on the head. So Rotary, it's funny because they were actually established by a group of 30-somethings, way back in the day, and again, with a joint purpose of trying to make their communities better. And now it's 1.4 million members strong, worldwide organization, one of the largest civic organizations in the world, focused on helping the environment, focused on helping build peace, literacy, women's health. Like, if there's an issue, Rotary's on it.
Right. Yeah, I love that people will bring a project like within the group, or they've heard it outside of the group, and say, hey, this is something that we see going on. And the Rotarian, and some of it is all of us. Sometimes it's one of us is inspired to do it, but we all try to conquer these things together.
And ultimately, that's the goal, is that we have a group of leaders from your community, right? All your community leaders focused on a common goal of just making this place better. And so over the years, that has evolved. We've done the community blood screening project, which is going through an evolution right now to try to cope with some of the changes at the hospital. We've done our dictionary project, where we used to deliver dictionaries to 3rd graders. Now we're doing Sunshine State readers to kind of evolve, right? Because dictionaries don't play the biggest role. People have cell phones. Kids have cell phones.
Hey, Google, blah, blah, blah.
Define. Hey, Alexa, define this.
Right.
I'm going to set off all the Alexas everywhere.
I was looking at what something was going to go off.
So we've had to evolve with the times as well, but we're doing that. We most recently adopted 2.2 miles of the Palatka St. Augustine Trail. So Rotary is going to be owning that, cleaning that up, and it's a huge transition point. It's actually right over here. So it gets a lot of use and needs to be cleaned up and maintained.
Starts right by my house.
Yeah, right by your house.
Yeah, I'll be the first part of it.
Yeah, let us know how it goes.
Actually, if I get to be the first part of it, I'm going to need at least, I'm doing the residency thing. I'm going to need at least 2 more Rotarians
to get on board.
Yeah,
you got it.
That can be a tough area right there.
Absolutely. And we've done like some of our bigger events over the years, where it's casino night, a black tie affair. We brought that back. We did that recently. And then most recently, we brought back the Craft Beer Festival, which was started by our very own PYP.
Yep.
Pre-pandemic. And then
it's cool that I got to start it and then
rejoin and help us.
And then rejoin it. Yeah.
No, we were very glad. And to be honest, without you guys kicking it off, we wouldn't have been able to know it was even possible, right? But honestly, it's been a wonderful event, and ultimately, it's to showcase our beautiful riverfront, showcase that being a star city where people travel through, and we have throughput to Gainesville, St. Augustine,
1 hour
Orange Park.
drive.
People come through here all the time, and we want to give them a reason to stop, take a pit
Absolutely.
stop, take a rest, stretch your legs, look at our beautiful river. And there's so much more to offer in this town, and we're growing with such potential that
Hmm.
we just thought, let's have a signature event and let's get this going. So I had the honor of working as LA City Brewing as their marketing manager
Hmm.
for a couple of years, and through that I got to go to a lot of beer festivals where you share your product, you showcase your beer so people can taste it, hopefully ask for it at their grocery store, or you go visit that brewery. And so I learned a few things.
Hmm.
So I took the fundamentals that you guys have provided through PYP, and then we just scaled it significantly,
And I love that.
right? So first year we had 600 out there on the riverfront. Last year we were able to hit about
Attendees.
attendees,
Okay.
yeah. And
Making sure we weren't talking about like different beer brands, because I was like, I missed that.
no, you had about 25 different beer brands, but
Right.
over 120 different beers.
Right.
And so that's what we always tell people. It's like, they're like, oh, beer fest, I don't like beer. Well, we have ciders, we have seltzers. Sometimes they have distilleries that come out to showcase like different pre-canned products.
Right.
So out of 100 something choices, there's a choice for everybody.
And there's water.
We have tons of water.
Yeah.
In fact, designated drivers get in free. Please, we love to make sure everyone gets home safely.
Oh, and there's a link to sign up for that.
Absolutely.
Correct. So all of there's a lot of information you heard about, and we'll definitely hit more. We'll cut out some of this beer fest, make sure that they get it right in their face. But the designated driver part, I love that. And there'll be links below for you guys to sign up for that too.
Absolutely. So if you have a crew, have one DD, they get to come hang out, make sure you're safe, take you
Short
home.
straw draw.
Exactly. Who's the team member who's going to keep us safe?
Right.
But no, free water all day. Like I said, your DDs can come in. We have food trucks there. Our VIPs get access to Velchoff supports our VIP tent, so you get a nice appetizer tasting of some of their famous gumbo, right? And then you get to taste unlimited number of beers, little 2-ounce pours, but of course, drink in moderation, please.
I have seen many a people get the job done with 2-ounce pours. Just saying.
It happens. And if you don't like it, you pour it out, you move on to the next, see what's better,
Yeah.
It's all about having options and enjoying the day. So most beer festivals happen in the midst of summer, in the heat. You're
Bad news
sweating.
bears.
It's not good. You're getting dehydrated already. We do ours the week before Thanksgiving on a wonderful, cool, brisk weekend, hopefully. So you get to come
it's
hang
feeling
out.
brisk right now.
It is. It's nice and cool today.
Really pleased.
I love it.
I had a heater on in here this morning.
I'm a cold weather kind of person,
Right,
so I
right.
fight Florida all the time.
I like both, but
We keep the house at
I'm here
68,
right now.
if that makes anything.
We do begrudgingly. Everybody else is comfortable, and I'm in sweats. I don't mind it being cold, but I also do not mind the summer. I don't like the mugginess.
No, the humidity's
Which is
whole
a great
different.
reason back to the beer festival.
To come out and hang out with
Yeah.
us on the riverfront. But no, ultimately, everything we do that day comes back to Rotary to help support our civic mission so that we can continue doing our scholar athletes, so we can continue doing our first generation scholarship program that we do at St. John's, to be able to buy these Sunshine State readers. Everything goes right back. So we have a fun day filled of beer tastings, music. Cholula's going to be there this year. They're a St. Augustine fave. Airtight is another groovy band that's going to be kicking it off for us that day.
Maybe you can give me a few minutes and we can highlight him, because we've
You've had
interviewed
Chase on here, yeah.
So how cool that we could
So Chase is pretty awesome. So
yeah.
Chase Riedman, so back to pharmacy school, I went to school with his brother, Zachary Riedman, and he's been my best friend forever. So I've known Chase for a long time, and I honestly didn't put the two and two together. I'm like, wait, that's you? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, well, you're coming to our beer festival. Let's go.
Yeah.
So
and they're wonderful.
Oh no, they're awesome, and we have a lot of locals involved with that as well. So great to have them, and our beautiful amphitheater, which, by the way,
He's
co-op.
gesturing that way because it's right.
Oh yeah, it's behind us. Sorry, you guys don't know.
Us.
But the amphitheater was built in conjunction with Rotary and Lowe's.
Yep.
So we've helped put that together. So why not use it? We bring all these things. Let's
Exactly.
put them to use. Great acoustics in there, and it's just a great time for
Right.
everyone. So please check us out, PalatkaBeerFest.com. All the details, all the dates. We're adding new breweries weekly, just because I won't lie, the breweries like to linger on their final. Yes, we'll show up. But, it's a brewery. They're
Right.
very chillax about the whole
Right.
situation.
Yeah, I'll be there.
It happens. I'm not going to blame them. But last year we had 22. The year before that we had 20. This year I'm shooting for 25 different brewery representations.
Wow.
Each one typically brings about 4, so that's 100 beers.
Right.
It's going to be a great time. It's family friendly. You bring your kids. We have the cornhole out there. We have the Jenga block, the giant Jenga blocks. We have the ring game. It's a good time. So
Now you to enter, like to just to come down here
mhm,
is free, but to enjoy the
to
festivities, to
partake, yes.
partake, and then there's early access tickets that are on sale right now.
Absolutely. So, the event will take place 12 to 5 p.m., but 12 to 1 is reserved for our VIP guests. So, if you buy a VIP ticket, you get to start drinking at 12, have a 1 hour where it's just you and 200 of your newest best friends, having exclusive access to the beer festival, on top of some very fabulous swag that we'll have to showcase here shortly.
Maybe you can give us a sneak peek, and we'll
Hopefully, it's gonna be
rip it.
something different. We'll see how it goes. I'm really working on something cool because usually we do T-shirts that might be a de facto because we make some really cool soft T-shirts. You always have to have the
I
soft
was
tee,
wearing mine from
right?
the one the other day. I still have the little
They're
glass too.
comfy.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's great.
and you get a commemorative glass, right?
Commemorative glass,
Mm-hmm.
tasting glass, a little 5 ounce glass because we do the 2 ounce pours. But no, it's we try to put a good event. Again, it has to be a give and take, so we have to have some good luxuries. So we always get the trailer bathrooms, the
Mm-hmm.
nice AC,
Oh,
running
those are
water,
so nice.
because you're intaking beverages, nature calls. You want
Yeah.
to be comfortable, right? No porta potties here, not on our watch.
Nope.
No, please no.
Nope.
So, and then on top of that, we try to make it comfortable for our brewers because some of these people are coming from Jacksonville, St. Augustine,
Right.
Gainesville, they're driving hour and a half, 2 hours to be here,
And of
participate.
all people who could be empathetic.
Absolutely. I know. But it's they donate their time, their services, and their beer to help, our philanthropic cause. And so we want to make sure everything's good for everybody. We always have rinsing glasses so you can rinse out your cup. Please don't go to different stalls and ask them to rinse your glass, and they will. They get told to, because you don't want to taste a conglomerate of 10 different beers. You want to taste one beer at a time. The brewers would appreciate that.
Right. But it would be interesting to see like what some
Like
of
back in the
those
day when you mix all the sodas.
yeah, what was the cotton I don't think I can say these words on the internet without getting canceled. It's it's
Well, then
something
don't, please.
no
Don't cancel our
no, it's
podcast.
they call it unaliving or the pilots who anyway.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
got you.
don't know.
I got you.
I'm being very cryptic right now,
The
but
mama
go look
hum.
up what happens when you mix what it's called when you mix all the sodas at the soda fountain.
It's
Yes.
never good. They don't taste good. Don't do it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
Definitely don't do it with your beer. And you want to be able to know. So then, if you find a good beer, you find a good cider, then you know to ask for it at different breweries or different establishments.
Mhm.
And again, so I will say, ultimately, it's about showcasing our city, our
Right.
beautiful river, our beautiful memorial park. And last year, over 70% of the tickets sold were from people outside of Putnam County. So these are people taking their time, bringing their families from outside the community to come check out our place for the day.
Right. Support ourselves.
So come visit
Yeah.
Palatka. Let's go.
Yeah, and like historically speaking, the festivals that have had beer, we like to come to as
Mhm.
Putnam County residents.
Hey,
So
there's nothing
come
wrong with
do
it,
it with new people.
To
Learn
each
new
his own,
things. Yeah.
right?
It'd be cool to have like a whole group night out, or and again, if you could bring the kids, again, everybody have a DD, and somebody
Keep it
watch your
safe.
kids, please. But it's a great opportunity to take advantage of the beautiful outdoors, of a unique experience at a very affordable cost. The VIP is a great deal, and then to be able to just give that back to your community. You get to drink and give back to your community. Like what?
Well, what more can you ask
Right,
for?
exactly.
Like, come have a good time, and we're gonna continue doing great
And
things in
music,
this
and
community.
music.
And the
Yeah.
music's great. Like, even if you want to come walk around, just the music will be in the air.
Right.
Please come enjoy. And then if you want to come hang out, buy a ticket and come see us.
Yeah, and so tickets will be on sale that day.
Typically, I will say typically because we have sold out in the past.
Mhm.
Sometimes there's very limited numbers, so I would say get your tickets now so you have them in your mailbox, ready to come in, ready to go. Tickets are for sale online at PalatkaBeerFest.com. You can check us out on Facebook at Palatka Craft Beer Festival or through our Rotary of Palatka Facebook page as well. They'll link them right back to Palatka Beer Fest.
Now you want to lay on the prices for the tickets so they are prepared.
They can. So I believe tickets are $65 for general admission, and I believe $80 for VIP because you just get some extra awesome sauce on that.
I feel like for a $15 scale up,
And I need to double check those because
But then you know what'll happen is if you're wrong,
yeah,
we'll just put the actual number right here,
don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
or I'll put the actual number right here, and then it won't be
Here.
like you were wrong, and be like, oh, by the way, it's actually this. But
It's actually thanks.
yeah, or I'll just like dub it over, but I'm gonna leave it in. I think it's great. You got so many things going on in your mind, and I really love that. This is something that I really feel like you've been always very passionate about keeping it going. It is a great opportunity. And I think people look at, sometimes look at civic organizations and leaders in the community and think that everything that they do is kind of, stiff-necked or
Square.
square or other descriptive words. Yeah, it's not going to
Mhm.
always be fun. And this is one of the
And
ones I really
historically,
enjoy.
sometimes it can be,
Hmm.
because, and it's not because they don't want to, but there's risk involved. Like, of course, risk management's a big thing,
Right?
but ultimately, time and place and everything in moderation, right?
Right.
We have a huge emphasis on safety. We work with the city to make sure that people aren't getting towed that night if they have to leave their cars. The DDs get to come in. The water's being handed all day. We have people pulling water wagons all day long. Lowe's is wonderful partners,
Eat before you come, eat while you're there.
and then go to Velchoff's
You can
afterwards.
you can walk. So if you come down to the festival, you can walk down and get to 1, 2, 3. If you count 4, 5 on just this side, within 3 blocks, 5 different restaurants.
No, that's typically the goal, is have a light breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
pad the stomach.
Started Angels.
Hey, that would be good. A nice breakfast sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be wonderful. Start there. Come see us at the beer festival. Have a great day. Leave when you want, and come join our downtown and see
And
what.
what date is this again?
This is November 23rd.
November
So
23rd.
Saturday, November 23rd, on our beautiful riverfront. Back here again.
Right here. Yeah.
12 to 5 for VIPs and 1 to 5 for general admission.
I love that, and I'm sure as the time progresses that there are going to be more events coming up. As we have another series that we do on the podcast called The First Ladies, where Tiffany and I sit down and talk about to the best of our ability, all the events that we've been hearing about in Putnam County. And like this month, the 26th, there is the Dattle Pepper Festival.
Yeah.
The Wine Stroll, I believe, is the same night. I might be wrong about that, but there's the Dattle Pepper Festival. There's something else that evening. There's the Witches Paddle. There's a trunk or treat thing going out in Interlock, and Interlock has been bringing some heat to their town.
Oh,
Doing some
they're
great
always
stuff.
trying. It's great
Oh
stuff.
my gosh, I love them. Kudos to Brandon Cumbo out there and all that he's doing with Interlock and word of mouth. But we will be sure to remind everybody, because this is a great event for a great cause, and because Dr. Christian Calderon says so.
Well, thanks, Lara. No,
And go
ultimately,
Gators.
yeah, we got it all. We got it all. But ultimately, it's about coming through, because when we talk to our Rotarians and we talk to our community, we really push them to say, what is something you want to do? What is something you're passionate about? And bring it to the table. Because if you're happy and you love something that you do, then why not do an event around it that might be able to help our community?
Right.
And ultimately, those are the kind of ideas we want to bring to the table so we can grow out. We have some future events that we're trying to coordinate that might be a lot of fun as well.
I've only been back a week, so I'm super excited to hear whatever's
Oh no,
cooking
you're
back
gonna be
there.
put to work. I had this girl working. We were what, till 2:33 in the morning before
Oh my
last
gosh, yes.
last year's beer fest, or the first one,
Mm-hmm.
our first beer
Yeah,
fest.
yeah.
In your offices,
Because
printing, editing, updating.
because you had decided that you had it covered. Like, you got everybody doing their little tasks, but when it came to the back end stuff, you're like, no, I got it. I was like, bro, I think you need a second
little help.
resident. A little help. Like, I'm not saying
And I
can't
did. I
and you
needed the
don't
help.
have it, but that was a good time, and I enjoyed that. But yeah, we were there for a little minute.
And it was awesome.
It was wonderful.
We kicked it off. Great first time
Yeah.
event, and look, here we are, year 3. There's a total of 800 potential tickets on sale. Again, the goal is to sell them out. So please tell your friends, even if you don't want to go, tell your friends that they might want to come, share.
Gift it to someone who, if you don't drink, gift it to someone who does.
Yeah. And speaking of gifts, we work with a podcast group, the Boozy Blondes.
Oh.
Yeah, some of our faves. And they're actually going to be doing some ticket giveaways through their Instagram and our portals. They're from around here. They actually have a lot of connections to Putnam County.
Oh.
So they're check them out on Instagram. They have a whole podcast series.
I'm about to call them out because I think we need to.
No, they're awesome. They're going to be helping you. They can't make it to it because they're going to some other fabulous event that day that, unfortunately I have to move my dates. But they're still supporting us. They're still supporting the crew. So check them out. We'll be giving out probably 2 sets of tickets through their portal, through their Insta and their podcast. So, it's just about getting people to hear about it and get them out here.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, you guys stay tuned. I'm sure we'll have some updates along the way, and always check out, remember, the first week of the month, our first release for November will be all about events. I'm sure we'll be talking about the beer festival again with Tiffany, because that's one of the ones that we want to cover. And obviously I'm going to be there helping. or participating, a little of both.
I would hope
Help
so.
first, then participate. Anyway,
No,
could
we
be
got
fun, the
we got some great
reverse.
things going on in this
Yeah.
community. I'm happy to be a part of this community. I'm happy
I'm
to
so
help it
glad you made
grow.
it.
I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm
And you're
going
not having
on.
to drive an hour away.
No, I'm here now. Next June will be 10 years in Putnam that I've been either working or now living.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Ain't it? I didn't think so.
What's funny is I actually met your wife first
Mm-hmm.
when
Oh yeah,
over
you
beer.
did. Yeah.
They were Azalea Brewery, amazing brewery if you haven't been. We're doing a Women's Day brew, and I'd actually written
The pink boots.
Yeah, the pink boots, and I'd written a article for Women's Day honoring Andrea. She's an incredible person. If
Great
you
entrepreneur.
like, really, I mean, 4 careers and like all of them so different, so unique. Just an incredible person, an incredible brewery and team that she has over there. But anyway, I met this super cool gal, and I was like, man, I want to hang out with her. And then like you come in, and then I end up, oh, I know this guy too, and so it's just kind of come full circle.
No, it's awesome. And again, what you can make happen in a small town, because we're all closer than we think. One way or another, we know somebody who knows somebody, and why not all work together for a common goal of just making each other and this town better? So ultimately, whether that's, through our healthcare here in the community, which, we can continue working on, through our efforts at the Rotary Club of Palatka, which is always going to hopefully be around here and keep striving for bigger and bigger goals. So please, if you're interested in ever coming to one of our meetings, we meet Tuesday at the Ravine Gardens State Park. Just let us know you want to come and see what we're all about. We have wonderful different programs. We have wonderful people who come speak to us about different events and organizations and efforts going on in the state and the world.
Yep.
And we're going through a very evolutionary time. So if you have some great ideas, we'd be happy to have you come join us and share those thoughts so that we can make everything better.
Absolutely.
It takes effort.
It does.
Ultimately, it takes effort and work, but
you cannot have community without unity. You have to work together, man.
Wow, look at you.
But I like to capitalize the unity because it just looks cool. And one last thing from somebody who has, when I hear beer, I'm like, I can't have that. Ciders and
seltzers,
gluten-free. And they make gluten-free beers now. I don't know about all that.
To be honest, there's a lot of non-alcoholic beers, and people might think, oh, that's crazy. So it's usually like 0.2% or something like that, because there's always a little smidge, but not enough to inebriate you.
Right.
But some people just like the different flavors and tastes and not want to have any alcohol in their system. So
something for everybody.
To each his own.
All right. Well, until you come see us at Rotary, hopefully you're only going by the hospital to say hello to Christian, and that's it. Well, not at the hospital.
I'm not there anymore.
Forgive me. I forgot you moved along. But we did talk with Daniel, who is Daniel Chun, who was talking to us about Drug Take Back Day. But you can go hunt Christian down at Rotary, or you can come find us at the beer festival. I'm always down on the Riverfront. And until then, you guys have a good one. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you, Lara. Always a pleasure.